the weight of command. Arlington was a mid-sized city tucked away in the deep South, where the past lingered like a shadow, even in the gleaming glass towers and freshly paved streets. Despite years of progress, racial discrimination still thrived in subtle, quiet corners, especially within the institutions designed to serve and protect. The Arlington Police Department was one such place. For years, whispers of misconduct and bias circulated, but little ever changed. Complaints were buried, investigations conveniently delayed, and officers who followed the old way often found themselves promoted faster than those who challenged the status quo. Until now. For decades, black officers were marginalized, overlooked for promotions, and left to struggle in silence. But when the city council voted to appoint its first black female police chief, it sent shockwaves through the department. Some welcomed the change. Others simmered in silent resentment. Her name was Veronica Hayes. She was 45, with over 2 decades of law enforcement experience under her belt. From the gritty streets of inner-city patrols to leading high-stakes investigations in narcotics and vice, Veronica had earned her stripes. Known for her razor-sharp instincts, unwavering discipline, and an unshakable sense of justice, she was a force to be reckoned with. Yet, even as she rose through the ranks, she carried the scars of countless battles fought against both systemic injustice and personal prejudice. Average height. Solid build. Her tightly coiled curls cropped close to her head. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent, and unflinching. Veronica Hayes didn't rattle easily. Years in the field had taught her that reforming a system required not just courage, but strategy. She had learned to pick her battles carefully, though today wasn't one of those days. Her plan was simple: walk into the precinct without fanfare, without the shield of rank. She wanted to see, firsthand, how this place operated when no one was watching. She wore dark jeans, a slate gray shirt, and a black blazer. No badge. No nameplate. No indicators of her authority. She stepped through the front doors of Arlington's Central Police Station and immediately felt the weight of the place. It was heavy with tradition, with a culture that hadn't changed in decades. A handful of white officers lounged near the reception desk, sipping coffee and sharing a private joke, their laughter low but cutting. In the corner sat a middle-aged black man. His hands rested nervously on his knees, his gaze flickering between the officers and the floor. He'd clearly been waiting a long time, but no one seemed to notice him or care. Veronica stood quietly, observing. One of the white officers leaned toward his partner, his lips curling in a sneer as he whispered, "Another one of them. Probably here to complain." Again. His partner chuckled but said nothing. Veronica clenched her jaw. This was why she was here. She stepped up to the reception desk. A young officer in uniform, probably no older than 25, was tapping away on his phone. He didn't look up until she cleared her throat. "What do you need?" he asked without bothering to mask his irritation. "I'm here to speak with HR," she replied evenly. The young man glanced at her, his gaze moving slowly from her shoes to her face. His disinterest was palpable. Without a word, he returned his attention to his phone, leaving her standing there. Minutes ticked by. Veronica said nothing, but her sharp eyes missed nothing. The black man in the corner shifted uncomfortably, his patience thinning. But he stayed silent. Then a voice, deep and authoritative, cut through the room. "What's going on here?" Veronica turned. A tall, broad-shouldered man in a crisp uniform strode toward her. His pale blue eyes were cold, assessing. His badge gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights. Lieutenant Randall Pierce was engraved beneath the Arlington police emblem. Pierce was a relic of the old guard, white, conservative, and unapologetically chauvinistic. He'd served 15 years in the department, developing a reputation for toughness and for his network of powerful friends who looked the other way. Pierce stopped in front of her, crossing his arms over his chest. He didn't offer a greeting. "What are you doing here?" he asked flatly. Veronica held his gaze. "I'm here to speak with HR. I have paperwork to complete." His brows rose slightly, his expression somewhere between amusement and condescension. "Are you sure you're in the right building?" "This is Arlington Central, isn't it?" she replied coolly. "I'm in the right place." Pierce chuckled. "HR doesn't have time to deal with cases like yours." She understood exactly what he meant by cases like yours. She'd heard it before. Pierce's smirk deepened as he nodded toward the desk officer. "You hear anything, Carter?" The young man shrugged. "She wants HR." Pierce shook his head. "Listen, lady. If you're looking for a handout or a job, you're wasting your time. We don't have time to babysit." Veronica's blood simmered, but she stayed composed. "I'm requesting to speak with HR." "You got paperwork?" "You go to community services." This ain't the place. Her tone remained even. It's police-related. Pierce gave a short, barking laugh. What are you, some kind of watchdog? Here to report us for being too rough on a few thugs. He turned to the group of officers nearby. Hey, anyone want to help her file a grievance? Laughter rippled through the room. Veronica didn't flinch. I want to speak with the HR team leader, she said again. For what? Pierce asked, the mocking tone gone, replaced with something colder. I have the right to speak with them. His lip curled. You're awfully fond of that word. Rights? Around here, respect isn't given. It's earned. The laughter in the room grew louder. But it was empty, nervous. Some of the younger officers averted their gazes. Veronica drew a slow breath. Call your HR captain. Or find someone who can. Pierce's jaw tightened. You giving me orders now? I'm making a request, she replied. One that I'm entitled to make. The room's temperature seemed to drop. Pierce stepped closer. I think you need to leave before this turns into something you'll regret. Veronica didn't move. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you, he said. A tense silence stretched. A few officers shifted on their feet. Others watched with thinly veiled interest. Veronica stood her ground. I'm not leaving. Pierce's expression darkened. You want to meet someone? Fine. He turned and motioned to another officer. Get her out of here. The officer hesitated. But, Lieutenant. Do it. Pierce snapped. The officer moved toward her but stopped short, uncertainty clouding his face. Veronica's voice cut through the tension. Don't do something you'll regret. But Pierce was already moving. He grabbed Veronica's arm roughly. I told you to leave. She yanked her arm free. The movement surprised him. He stepped back, his eyes flashing. And then he swung. His fist connected with her cheek, sending her staggering back into a desk. The thud echoed through the room. For a beat, there was silence. Then, laughter. Yes, she learned, one officer muttered. But not everyone laughed. A few of the younger officers looked uneasy. A woman in administration clapped her hand over her mouth. Veronica straightened slowly. She didn't touch her face, though her cheek burned. She didn't cry out. Instead, she lifted her chin. And just then, a door opened at the end of the hall. A man in his 60s stepped out, carrying a folder. His name was Mark Talbot, head of HR. His gaze swept the room and froze. He stared at Veronica, his expression shifting from confusion to horror. The folder slipped from his hands. Oh my God, he whispered. Then louder. She's the new chief. What the hell have you done? The words struck like lightning. Pierce blinked. No, that's not possible. Talbot's voice cracked as he shouted, That's Chief Veronica Hayes. The room was suddenly, suffocatingly silent. Pierce paled. Sweat beaded at his temple. No, he whispered. This can't be. But it was. An admin assistant rushed over, confirming the appointment from her tablet. It's true, she stammered. Chief Hayes was appointed this morning. The realization hit like a blow. The officers who'd laughed now looked away, their faces burning with shame. Veronica took a step forward. She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. Her voice was low, but carried the weight of finality. Arrest Lieutenant Randall Pierce. Two officers moved without hesitation. They grabbed Pierce, twisting his arms behind his back. The cuffs clicked into place. You can't do this, Pierce shouted, struggling. This is a mistake. Veronica's gaze didn't waver. You assaulted a civilian in police custody. You attacked your commanding officer. You set me up, he hissed. No, she replied. You did this to yourself. Pierce was dragged away. The heavy doors slammed shut behind him. The room remained still. Veronica's gaze swept over the room. Anyone who condones this behavior is next. No one spoke. No one moved. By the end of the day, multiple officers were placed on administrative leave. Investigations into prior complaints were reopened. Randall Pierce was charged with assault and misconduct. The city of Arlington trembled under the weight of change. And Veronica Hayes? She had only just begun.